Okay, so got off to a little bit of a late start. One of my friends surprised me by coming over with pizza, and pizza is the ultimate distraction as far as I'm concerned. So I tried to get, one of my friends showed me this really neat app that you can add to your Hangouts, and I was trying to install it, and then that took more time, and long story short, we're starting 20 minutes late. So yeah. Feels really weird talking. It's okay. People will be here soon, she says, hopefully. In the meantime, I have spiderball! Yay! I should just sit here like this until I see somebody show up in the little chat. And I know I'm not alone. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Mostly rolls along the streets. He's really fat and has little feet. Look out! Here comes a spider ball. This is really just not the very exciting part of this endeavor. Oh, I need to share the link. 1 second. Link sharing is good. Beautiful. Yay. Really, we could just do a whole like spider ball pop. Oh, I should have brought little spider ball. The Spider-Man never really had a sidekick, but it's okay. One viewer! So exciting. Can you say hello? I think I turned the question thing on. Oh, I spoke too soon. 0 viewers again. Spiderball, Spiderball. It's really good for throwing at a wall. He bounces right off because he's fat, and I love him. Look how, I mean, just look how round he is. Look at that. It's majestic, I tell you. It's absolutely majestic. Okay, I'm going to put him over here so I don't get distracted during the live stream, which is now. If I got this started on time, I meant to be on top of things, but the pizza was very distracting. Ask your audience to submit questions, and they will throw below. Okay, so that's working. And toolbox, not working. Yeah, you missed my song. I did a whole little song for him earlier. I was just sitting here for like 2 minutes, and there's nobody here, so I sang a whole little Spooderball song. Okay, let's see. Selecting question. What? Click select button to answer a question. Okay, got it. Hello. Oh, this is just weird. So I was working on costuming stuff and eating pizza with my friend Zach, who brought me pizza. And then I was like, oh my gosh, it's 9 o'clock. Like I need to be ready like right now. Except by that time, it was like what I really needed was a transformation sequence from sad trash hobo, which is what I look like when I'm working on stuff, to acceptable, presentable human being. Yes, I can see you. I haven't quite figured out how to make this Q&A thing function like an actual chat. So, yeah, just don't mind me thumbing around your questions. Oh, I think I just marked something wrong. Oh, man. So bad with this. And that's why this is about public relations and not how to live stream video blog. Because clearly I'm not qualified to answer that one. So, is everybody sort of up to date on what we're going to be talking about? Because it's, I mean, mostly it was Black Milk and then the Cherry City Comic Con thing. So I guess I can post links if that would be helpful. Oh, nope, that's the links to my thing. Hang on. Maybe someone else can post links. Oh, there's a group chat. Hey! Oh, okay. There's a group chat. We should all use the group chat instead of the Q&A thing. I think this will be a little easier to keep track of. But okay, well, I guess we'll get started with the recap of what's been going on in terms of exciting PR debacles in the geek community. Which it's sort of, I don't know, I think it's very interesting because the nice thing about the internet and Facebook and social media platforms is that unless you're, I mean, pretty much unless you're live streaming like I am now, you have time to think about anything you're going to say to anybody. You know, someone can come onto your company page and explain to you why they think you're exactly like Hitler, and you can take as much time as you want before you respond. I mean, obviously, the sooner you respond, the better, but, you know, if there's like a 45-minute delay in how do I access group chat? Let's see. I haven't the faintest idea. If you figure it out, let me know. But otherwise, I'll keep an eye on the Q&A since group chat may or may not be available to everyone. Oh, sorry, the group chat might only be available to people in the video call, which is me. So I can group chat with myself pretty much. Alright, can that idea. Stay with Q&A. We'll go with what works, I suppose. I wish I could see the live chat on YouTube, though. I feel like I'm missing stuff. Oh, right. So you can take as much time as you want to respond to, you know, questions, inquiries, concerns, and yet people keep messing this up, which I don't know. So the Cherry City Comic-Con thing, which I'll start with first because I was actually more cognizant of what was happening while it was going on. Let's see. Just want to make sure I get this all straight. Basically, Cherry City Comic-Con, first year comic book themed convention in Salem, Oregon, I believe, and so they have, you know, they've got their Facebook page for the con, and they're posting pictures of cosplayers. Not cosplayers who will necessarily actually be attending the convention, but just like cosplayers in general, kind of like a, hey, look, this is like, you know, there could be stuff like this at our convention. Who knows? We're first year con. So they're posting pictures of cosplayers, and they post more female cosplayers than male cosplayers. And a female cosplayer comments on this, something along the lines of like, hey, you know, that's an awful lot of women you've been posting. Maybe you guys could post some dudes, which is a fair thing. I like to see dudes cosplay. It's pretty awesome. It's the wind beneath my wings sometimes. And I mean, basically, for whatever reason, so she comments that they're posting a lot of women. They are posting more women than men. And the con organizer just gets really super angry about this. Like, overly aggressive and hostile in his responses. And I mean, I don't know. Obviously, female cosplayers are, I mean, you know, they're very eye-catching. You know, we all like to see attractive women in costumes. By the same token, you know, lots of us also enjoy seeing attractive men in costumes. But it's you know, that's not really the sort of thing I feel like is worth getting upset about. You know, someone says, hey, you're posting an awful lot of females. Be like, hey, look, here's some awesome dude costumes to balance it out. How about that? Which, like, really, so really the whole thing should have ended there. But no, the guy gets, like, really angry about it and decides to engage in this little argument with her. And so the cosplayer decides, you know what, if this is how the con organizer behaves, I don't know if I really want to come to this convention. Okay, so she messages him and asks for a refund. And he gives her a refund, but also, like, posts her message on his Facebook with her name to like, so he and his friends can make fun of her. Which that's where all this started going bad, because then people saw it and they were like, wow, that's kind of inappropriate for you to do. To which he responded with about as much maturity as we've seen so far. And then all of the screenshotting, and he'd post all these comments, and then he'd like delete them. And then he made fake or like alternate Facebook accounts so he could come on and pretend to be someone else and defend himself, but while not being himself, and got other people to come on and defend him. And then there's this whole back and forth, and he kept deleting comments. But it's the internet. Once you put it out there, you can't really delete it. So lots of people end up seeing it, and more or less, the more he tried to stomp it down, the worse it got. And it did not help that as soon as people were sort of, trying to politely inquire why he had responded in such a manner, he, banned them off the convention Facebook page and sent them messages calling them sexist and that sort of thing. And really, like, that, the whole thing just escalated from there. A bunch of people going back and forth and arguing on a Facebook thread, but the whole time the convention jet guy just continued to dig himself a deeper and deeper hole. And then the convention was supposed to issue their official response, and they didn't. They wouldn't say anything about it, and they deleted people off their page. And it's overall, it's just been really confusing, because as far as we can tell, it's like one guy pretending to be like maybe 10 people and arguing with everybody. And so I think the con security ended up issuing a statement about how he takes, harassment and safety and all of that very seriously, which is good. But then they don't actually, the con organizer, the guy who started all of this, is still affiliated with the con. So it kind of, I don't know, the whole thing came off to me as like, we take safety and security very seriously, unless the harassment is perpetrated by someone we know or deem to be important, in which case we're not going to do anything, which is the opposite of what you want from a convention security person. And then the Black Milk thing was actually pretty similar. Black Milk posted a meme. Ostensibly, they claim it was the girl who posted the meme was making fun of herself, and what they had was it was expectation versus reality. What I look like when I try to dress up as a geek goddess. And on one side, it had this, attractive alt model in, I think it was Black Milk, maybe it was Black Milk, maybe it was latex, some sort of shiny, cute, skin-tight R2-D2 print thing. And then on the other side, they had the girl from The Big Bang. I don't watch The Big Bang Theory. She's got glasses, and she's actually like a neuroscientist in real life. I don't know her name. Anyway, but so on the other side, they have a picture of her in like a Star Trek cosplay outfit, and people didn't take that super well, because, well, first of all, it's just confusing. But the whole like expectation reality thing is like, your expectation is like this glowing thing that you think is what you're gonna get or accomplish or look like, and then the reality is like this tragic fail. And unfortunately, because the person who posted this used two people who are completely not related to each other, and not like, if she'd used like two pictures of herself, like one of herself looking like super hot, one of herself looking like, sad trash hobo, then that would have been probably better received. But this was just sort of like a very confusing, hey, let's like compare these two women and call one of them a failure for no determinable reason. And so, I mean, regardless of how you felt about the meme, Black Milk's response was terrible. Oh god, they were banning people. Anybody who commented or remarked on it, they banned them. They pretty much refused to apologize, or they did the whole like, oh, well, we're sorry some of you got your feelings hurt, but we don't care, get off our page. Which is maybe not the response you want to take as a business. Like, generally speaking, I prefer for my customers to be like, we want to be here. Not like, we're going to leave this page because you hate us. But yeah, so those are the two big things that happened recently. And Black Milk's been a very popular clothing brand, if somewhat a little overpriced perhaps, but they've been a very popular clothing brand, and a lot of people have remarked on how positive their community has been. And, you know, hang on, I have to take one of these out. My voice sounds super weird. I felt like I was shouting at everybody. Okay. Right, but yeah, so they're super, super popular. And then just kind of like waste all of their goodwill by refusing to back down over like this one joke that isn't actually even especially funny or pertinent to their company. Why? I don't super know. Possibly because they had not attended this excellent seminar on how to maintain good public relations. Step one, if a bunch of people are really angry about something, the solution is not to tell them to get off your page and ban them. That just makes you look sort of totalitarian and not actually really all that concerned with your community or your fan base. Not a good way to encourage repeat sales. Okay, so let's go back to Cherry City Comic Con, where what they should have done was pretty much just issue a refund and call it a day. If you wanted to be like super professional, what they could have done was basically be like, you know, I'm sorry you feel uncomfortable about attending our convention. Like, how can we make it better? Because, you know, I mean, you don't really want to have to issue a refund. That's sort of the opposite of good publicity for your con. Maybe not the opposite. The opposite would be the thing that they actually did. But and especially now, because people are trying to be more conscientious about safety and you know, inclusion and that sort of thing at conventions, especially when it comes to like issues of harassment, of people feeling like they're not welcome or not included, and just the incredible short-sightedness of their response was really, well, incredibly short-sighted. I mean, we'll see how it goes for them. I think their most popular post on their page to date is the one where they were trying to apologize, but not really, about the stuff that their organizer had said. That's the other thing. Don't do the apology that's not actually an apology. You know, you can just straight up be like, that person was wrong, we're going to fix this. Instead of like, that person was wrong, but let's make a bunch of excuses for them. Actually, Ben Franklin had a really good quote about that. Never ruin a good apology with an excuse. And it's pretty spot on, because when you say stuff like that, like, oh, well, we're sorry about this person, but he's under a lot of stress, then you kind of cheapen the apology. And not to mention, like, if you are in a position of high stress and you can't handle the stress, and the stress causes you to lash out in terrible ways, first of all, you shouldn't be talking to people. Second of all, maybe you shouldn't actually even be in that position, you know? But you definitely should not be the one that convention people have to talk to when they're trying to interact with your con. That's what PR people are for. Sorry about this like hair thing that's sort of melting off the side of my head. So, Black Milk. They did issue an apology. As far as I can tell from people commenting and remarking on it, it was not very well received, because they apologized but sort of shifted the blame. They were like, oh, well, this is these other people's fault who work for us. Black Milk is still a wonderful, happy place. And just these people who were working for us but not being supervised are, I don't know. It was a weird apology. But, I mean, what we should really learn from this is that there's not a lot to be gained by sticking to your guns, unless it's, I mean, and please keep in mind that I'm speaking in like the specific cases of Black Milk and Cherry City Comic Con, because this is two cases where the company erred and should have just apologized straight off the bat. Whereas I'm sure there's cases where like somebody does something that's not actually, you know, that might be questionable or objectionable, but it's not really like outraging to, you know, people the same way these two missteps were. But yeah, so there's really nothing to be gained by sticking to your guns. So when you call for a strategic retreat or a rapid advance in the opposite direction, or tactical retreat, I think there's a better phrase for it. Whew. That was a lot of talking. But I mean, we see this happen time and time again. What was that one company that sold the controller and that guy was like a huge dick? Penny Arcade covered it. By covered, I mean like also sort of exacerbated, but brought it to light. It was the company, and they had a game controller that I think was supposed to be modified or something, so it was accessible to people with disabilities, I think. And their PR guy just like went nuts on some Penny Arcade dude, and the whole thing blew up, and their company just tanked. It was awful. Oh wait, question. Oh, thank you. Okay, so the actress that I couldn't remember earlier has a name that I can't really pronounce, but it starts with an M. Mayim Bialik? Mayim Bialik? Okay. I don't know if I got that one at all, but that's the actress that was in the picture that's in the Big Bang Theory. Thank you, Allison. Okay, let's see. Question. What would be good etiquette for interacting with cosplayers at conventions? Okay, well, the first thing to remember is that as cosplayers, we're very special snowflakes. We need to be approached with deference, possibly bowing and scraping. You should bring an offering of some sort to us. Maybe food. Sorry. That was all sarcasm, so nobody like quote me out of context that Legriana thinks that cosplayers are the lifeblood of conventions and need to be treated like magical unicorns. Although, if you wanted to treat us like magical unicorns and basically like have beautiful women everywhere that we just like come and like lie down and like put our heads in their laps and they'd like pet us and, you know, tell us our costume's pretty, I would be okay with that. I would be really okay with that. Okay, good etiquette for interacting with cosplayers at conventions. I mean, well, okay, so I guess some of this might seem pretty common sense, goes without saying sort of thing, but I'm just trying to cover all my bases and think through this question. Okay, so number one, good etiquette is ask before you do things, and this is partially like not because I think, you know, oh, this person's at a convention, how dare you take their picture without asking them, but when you ask, you know, you let them know that you're going to take a picture so they can actually be ready and not be like in the middle of yawning or something. I'm pretty sure there's a picture of me somewhere like somebody caught me while I was eating and I'm making this like awful face. I'm sure like it looked cute like 10 milliseconds before the camera shutter clicked, but if they had asked, I would have attempted to maintain a cute expression. So asking is good, and it's polite, you know, it's a polite thing to do. So asking before you take pictures so they can, you know, really give you their A game of photos, but especially and way more importantly, asking before you touch anything. Which, like, you know, includes them and their props and their costume. And I confess that I'll sometimes forget about this, and if I'm at a convention and I do this to you, just gently remind me that I gave out this advice. I like to touch things. I'm very tactile. I'm sitting here petting spiderball like the entire time I'm giving you this talk. Tactile. But yeah, asking before you touch stuff because they might have parts that, you know, are not securely attached, or they might, you know, you might need to be careful with something, or you might not need to be careful with something. People will ask Matt before they touch his armor, and I mean, you should see. He has thrown this thing like into. He throws it into the car. It's not a delicate thing. So he doesn't care if people like want to, you know, bend it and touch it and play with it. But on the flip side, some of my friends do Ghostbuster costumes, and they said one of the big problems they have is their proton packs. They'll have people like come up behind them and touch it, or like break pieces off of it and stuff, and not on purpose, but yeah. So asking. Oh, we had a really good suggestion the last time we did this. I think we were talking about how to give compliments, and someone said, I believe it was Jason, said that what he does is he compliments the costume and not necessarily the body in it, which is to say that rather than, you know, be like, hey, your body looks smoking hot, and I wish to have sexual relations with you. You might instead say, your costume looks amazing. How long did it take you to make it, or you know, something like that. But you know, just because people put so much work into their costumes that when you say something nice about it, it really does. It has even more weight as a compliment. Those are really like the two main things I can think of. Don't be afraid to let people know when they're having a costume malfunction. You know, really, like actually, the more on the ball you are with that, the better for everyone, really. And if someone is like in a rush on their way to do something and they don't have time, you know, to stop and take a picture, don't take it personally. Just, you know, hope you can run into them later. I really think that's about everything. Don't be a dick. And then, like, there's, I guess, all the other stuff that goes without saying. You know, don't tell somebody that, you know, they shouldn't be doing such and such a costume. Don't grill them about their costume. Don't harass them because of what they're wearing. You know, all that sort of stuff. So, I think that really about covers it. Unless there's something specific. I can't think of much anything else that would be relevant on that topic. Which means I probably forgot something. I hope that answered your question now. So, good PR. The fine art of acknowledging that you're not better than other people and apologizing when necessary. Look at that. That was like so super fast. Bam. I just solved everybody's PR problems forever. You're welcome. But oh, I guess, well, okay, so here's also an interesting take on it. I was talking to one of my friends earlier, Fang Fox, and he said that he felt like the whole PR thing kind of went back to like the kind of like the you know, real nerd mentality. You know, the idea that like there's somehow like there's true nerds and then there's like fake nerds. You know, people who, I guess, people who felt like maybe what they were doing gave them more authority or more importance in the community than, you know, random customer so-and-so or cosplayer so-and-so who has this like issue or complaint that they don't have to take seriously because, you know, they're more important, that sort of thing. Which I hadn't really thought about. What caused massive drama locally, Riley? Black milk? Cosplay? Cherry City Comic Con? Spiderball? I really like my spiderball, okay? Okay, well, while I'm waiting for Riley to respond and untangling these headphones and spiderball. So, oh, Cherry City Comic Con, I assume is what you're referring to, right? Maybe? Oh, yeah. Yeah, see, like, the whole thing, literally the entire thing, could have just been avoided by him saying, okay, I'm sorry you feel that way. Here's your refund. I hope you'll, like, consider come check us out later. Instead of, like, having a hissy fit about it. Which, I mean, I understand, you know, that sometimes it's hard to separate your business from yourself, and somebody says something that you personally object to, but you have to kind of put that aside because you're not representing yourself, you're representing a business. And, you know, a business's standpoint on whether or not you posted way more females than males is, well, what will make you happy, customer? I think there was also, at the same time, she commented about the ratio of males to females, and somebody else, a completely different person, commented on one of the cosplays they posted, which was oh shoot, I can't remember. It's by Belshare, and it's a very revealing costume. Can't remember. I really can't remember what it is. I should, but I don't. It's a very revealing costume, and I mean, you guys know me. I love me some bikini costumes, but there are some things that are not appropriate for daytime at a family convention, like a small family convention. But I think this outfit that she was wearing, she only wears it at like Dragon Con, so it's like it's an environment that she knows, like the attire is acceptable. So, but someone commented on that, and I think it was like the two people like criticizing who he was posting just sort of set him off. I'm kind of curious what sort of local drama it caused. Conventions seem to attract that. There's always some sort of con drama going on with like staff or attendees or something or the other. We should have Drama Con. That the Goblin Queen cosplay. Okay, thank you. Yes. So yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it, like, I'm gonna attempt to demonstrate what the chest line of this was like. Okay, so it's like you can look it up, which would probably be smarter than this, but it pretty much like the top goes, you know, from top to like right about here-ish, and she uses some sort of booby magic to keep that all from, you know, running away. But yeah, it's like world of underboob and very not, you know, family friendly, unfortunately. But I mean, it's an awesome costume. It looks great on her. But yeah, so maybe not the most super, maybe not the best thing for them to post promoting their first year con, small con. Also, a little bit weird that they're, you know, just posting like random cosplayers who live on the other side of the country in an effort to promote their con. I don't know. I felt bad for her because I really like her, and it was sort of, you know, very not pleasant to see her picture get dragged into it for stuff that was not at all related to her or her fault. yeah, but we could have a drama con, and it could be it could just be like cosplayers like having like hissy fits and con staff refusing to do their jobs, and and the worst PR, like people just hijacking their feeds and tweeting and just sending out the most insulting and inflammatory things. And by the end of the weekend, everybody will be so out of energy for that sort of behavior that for the rest of the year, they behave themselves in a very professional manner. Let's see. It seems like the Cherry City Comic-Con people didn't know how to act professionally in any way. What sort of credentials do you need to run a con? Technically, none. Woohoo! Well, having not run a convention yet, I imagine that the most important credential for running a con is the ability to get smart, competent people to work for you, and then the super important ability to delegate tasks. So the person who is in charge of the con is not also the person who is in charge of PR. And the person who is doing costuming is not also the person who's doing, I don't know, like all of programming or something. Like there's a reason that it's usually divided up among, you know, quite a few different people. And I think that was kind of their pitfall. If nothing else, you should know how to act like an adult. You know, leave the angry, you know, commentary for not on Facebook. Get together with your friends and talk about how you can't believe this girl demanded a refund because you posted this like one costume. I mean, God, what was she thinking? But like, do it like that. Nobody has any idea. I'd say most events that I've been to that run really smoothly, and this is just my experience, but most events that I've been to that run really smoothly are usually run by someone with a really good business mind. And I'm sure there's examples of this working out horribly, but it's people who can kind of take a step back and look at the big picture and make decisions that are beneficial for everybody, and not so much like, oh well, I have this vendetta, and that's gonna drive my decision making. Let's see. Riley says that a small group, 2 factions, small group of progressive people, and a larger group of vehement old school comic nerds. Oh boy. Like, when we say old school comic nerds, do we mean like the kind of people who think that if you let girls in, everything's just gonna go to hell? Really, the lag between like when I say something and when I see a response, so weird. We were over on. Oh, running conventions. Yeah, so like someone who can delegate, someone who can be impartial, and someone who can be sort of a little bit but then you have to think about it, and like who usually throws cons are people who are really passionate about it and people who really want to see this thing happen. So sometimes you get somebody who feels very strongly and is very emotionally invested and can't really separate themselves from it, unfortunately. I don't know, maybe I'll run a con one day and I'll look back on this live blog and be like, I knew so little, so very, very little. But it'll be like a time capsule of when I thought I knew what running a con was like. I'm not going to run DramaCon, by the way. That's going to be someone else's job. I would run Okay, PikaCon will be straight out because licensing issues. I don't know. Some sort of fantasy con. Lots of like really cool fantasy costumes. That's what I'd really like to see. Maybe kind of like a Ren Fair, but like indoors, away from like bugs and nature. Lots of air conditioning. Something like a castle or something. It could be a masquerade. There could be a feast. Definitely a feast. So we can all see how well people can eat in their costumes. KerfCon. I don't know. KerfCon. ChainCon. This has sort of a vaguely BDSM feel to it. Maybe. We threw a LeGricon one year. That was cool. Well, I didn't throw it. Matt threw it. It was my birthday party. It was okay. It wasn't really a con. It was a birthday party, but we called it a LeGricon, and we had badges. No, I don't. We used to have like a big pile of badges over here, and like a LeGricon was in one of them. He had someone make laminated badges, and it said a LeGricon, and it had people's names on it. But, like, it was laminated on a lanyard and everything. It was awesome. I also got kidnapped that day, but that is a completely different and irrelevant story. Fantasy. I bet you there's a good way to say fantasy con. I'll have to think about it. But I think I could throw a decent enough convention. There would be, okay, so here are things that I would include in my convention. I would pay for there to be massage therapists on site, and I would just pay for them for the whole weekend. So anybody who wants to can go over and get a massage. And let's see, there would definitely be hot tubs and pools, and there would be food. There'd be lots of food. There'd be air conditioning. Oh, there'd be a cosplay repair zone for when your costume falls apart, and you can just run over to the repair zone, and there'll be like needle, thread, hot glue, super glue, I don't know, rivets, anything you need to get your costume to just hold it together just a little bit longer. I am the master of making costumes that are falling apart while I'm wearing them. Oh my gosh. When I wore my Deja Thoris at DragonCon, I cannot tell you how many times I almost like just bared it all to the world because I kept stepping on my stupid front panel skirt, and which was sewed to my underwear. So I have learned since then. It wasn't very smart, but I was in a rush to get out of the room, so I was just like, oh, whatever, I'll just like attach it here. And then I'm like walking around, and the skirt panels are really long, and I'm in like these super tall high heels. I don't walk around in high heels a lot, and yeah, there was a couple of times where like, and I hope one day I find a picture where I would just be like, I'd be like in the process of like getting up or like walking, and I would just like abruptly like just freeze and hold it there. And what I was doing was I was trying to figure out how to move without tearing my own underwear off in the process. I did not feel especially princessy when that happened, but I did handle it like a lady and flashed nobody. Oh, okay, question. What more could cons do to help promote and support cosplayers? Do any cons currently provide areas for photography? Should more people or cons have characters like Captain Patchett? Captain Patchett's awesome. Matt and I were looking at him today. Matt was like, I really wish I could do something like that. Matt can't sew, so he can't be Captain Patchett. He would have all of the needle and thread, and then you'd be like, all right, Matt, fix this thing. And he'd be like, can it be riveted together? Can you hold still while I run this through a rivet press? Okay, let's see. Let's take this question piece by piece. I'm gonna lounge on spiderball here. That feels good on my back. What more could cons do to help promote and support cosplayers? Well, actually, the thing I was talking about a minute ago, the cosplayer repair zone, was based off an idea from a big long Facebook comment thread we had. We were talking about what cons could do to basically what cons could do that would be helpful or useful to people. And someone suggested cosplay repair area. And really just sort of any area where you can go and you know, like they just have it's like some basic supplies for repairing stuff, maybe some chairs so you can, like, you know, if you need to sit down for a minute, fix your shoe, take your shoe off, consider why you ever bought that shoe. You know, water, couple little like snacky foods in case your blood sugar's gotten low. And I mean, I understand it's you know, it's the cosplayer's responsibility to make sure that they can function in their costume, and that's why a lot of cosplayers have, you know, handlers, people who go with them to help them handle the costume. But you know, it would be cool to see cons do that, help out with that, especially just because, you know, I mean, I know I joked earlier about cosplayers being the lifeblood of conventions, but they are, you know, cosplayers are an integral part of the show, and they're an attraction, and they are becoming a fairly large part of the, you know, the attendees of a show, because you will probably have quite a few people in costume. So having some sort of area where people can just, you know, catch their breath, fix anything that needs fixing, grab a couple crackers so they don't fly off into a rage, a hangry rage. I just learned this word, hangry. It's hungry and angry. It's like when you're hungry but you don't really realize it, but your mood just like tanks, so you're really angry. And I get angry a lot. Okay, well, also would be cool, not like direly important, but cool, would be an area for doing photography where they just have like a blank backdrop, so like a plain white or gray or whatever backdrop that, you know, cosplayers can just come stand in front of and get their picture taken. I've seen some cons do this. They'll usually put the backdrop and it'll have the convention name written all over it. Or other thing is you can get a photography service that specializes in doing like green screen photography, and I am going to put a shameless plug here for my friends, the Sci-Fi Photo Guys, because these guys, they took an idea. I've been talking about how cool this would be for a while, and they completely unrelated. They had no idea. We just great minds thinking alike, and they made this happen. And what they do is they shoot you in front of a green screen, and then you can pick your background. Okay, so you don't have to be stuck with like your choices of convention wall, convention door, convention banister, lots of other people. That doesn't have to be your background. You can be in a castle. You can be in a zombie-infested area. You can be under the sea. So they have a really cool thing going on, and I would like to see more stuff like that at conventions. I'm not really huge on celebrity photos. I don't think I've ever gotten one, but I mean, we had the Sci-Fi Photo Guys at when I went to Mysticon, and people were doing their celebrity photos with them, and it was cool because then you could have a background that was related to said celebrity instead of, you know, the awful like senior portrait backdrop that they use in all the big cons where you're getting your picture with the celebrity and it looks like this like terrible senior portrait. Okay. I've been on for a while. Promote and support cosplay. Provide areas for photography. Also, providing areas for photography kind of eliminates some of the like traffic jam effect that costumers can have at conventions, especially like when there's not a lot of space. That, you know what? That reminds me of another PR. Well, okay, PR disaster might be generous, but PR unpleasantness. When Wizard World basically announced like that they put up like these little signs that said like no DSLR cameras beyond this point or something like that. And we debated this. I think the goal for them was to keep people from like stealing celebrity photos by like using their big fancy camera to take a picture of the celebrity from far away. But it was executed really poorly, and a lot of photographers did not like that, with good reason, because if you're carrying your camera around all day, you don't want to like run back to your, oh wait, hang on, I'm in the no camera zone. Let me go like run back to my hotel and put this away so I can go through this area. FantaCon, sponsored by Fanta. Maybe if I liked Fanta more, I'd be more about that. You know what I really like? Fresca. FrescaCon. How about that? That would be sort of terrible. Or would it though? Fresca means fresh. It could be a con about fresh things and grapefruit soda. Okay, I'm just scrolling through questions real quick to make sure I didn't miss anything. Promote and support cosplayers. I think I hit most of the things that would be useful. Most cons are, you know, reasonably helpful, but that sort of thing. Spiderball is really comfortable, just so you know. FrezCon. FrezCon! There we go! Sponsored by Fresca! We could have FrezCon! I like it. I like it. Oh, so I know I've mentioned Spiderball like a billion times already, but if you haven't seen the new Spider-Man movie, you absolutely should. I had heard mixed things about it, but I'm really glad I went to go see it because I feel like this reboot of Spider-Man gets the Spider-Man franchise and the character like so much better than the previous incarnation that had so many things wrong with those 3 movies. Also, there's no Mary Jane. I'm not saying Emma Stone is awesome and better, but she kind of is. she's way more useful than Mary Jane in the previous movies. Mary Jane in the previous movies basically didn't really do anything. Not very. She's just sort of there, and she had like some sort of side plot with her life that I really don't even remember that well because it was bad. FantasyCon. You know, I had that thought, but I think there's already a FantasyCon. FantasyCon. Fantasticon. I have great reading comprehension. Why do you ask? Fantasticon. Ooh, Fantasticon. FrezCon or Fantasticon? Fantasticon is pretty legit. Okay, nobody make a convention with that name. When I make my con, it's going to be called either FrezCon or Fantasticon, depending on who sponsors it. If it's not sponsored by Fresca, it might not be FrezCon. Okay, last round of questions, because this has been almost an hour, which I've decided is a good amount of time for anyone to have to listen to me talk. So, any more questions? Oh, something else cons could do to support cosplayers. This is unrealistic. I know this is not really a viable thing for most conventions, but I was thinking how cool it would be if you could set aside a space and basically say you couldn't get the sci-fi photo guys to come and do their green screen awesomeness. If you have a themed con, how neat would it be to have themed areas for people to take pictures in? Star Wars Celebration did this. It is one of my favorite parts of the convention, that you can go, pose like in front of the little bunker thing on Endor, or near a speeder bike, or in the Millennium Falcon, at the cantina. Just because it's like super awesome backgrounds. I mean, like, if you think about it, backgrounds are really very important for pictures. But if you had, say you had a FantasyCon, Fantasticon perhaps, say you had a Fantasticon, and you set up a couple different areas that had different fantasy themes, thinking maybe some sort of throne, a really nice throne, some drapery, that sort of thing. Maybe you could have some columns with greenery. No obvious potted plants, but some tasteful greenery, that sort of thing. You have a steampunk con that had a very tastefully appointed sitting room that people could take pictures in. Stuff like that. I think that would be really neat. But I mean, obviously not high on the priority list for most conventions, because everything else has to actually function smoothly first. I am seriously dehydrated over here. I'm sorry I've been stopping to drink water so much, but it's gone from how there's supposed to be this transition of the seasons, and it's supposed to be winter into spring into summer, and in North Carolina it goes winter for a really long time, and then it goes spring, and then it's now summer. So it's May and it's now summer in North Carolina. It's really hot already. But that's okay, because some of us are costumed for summer. We are prepared. Where I am working on a costume right now that is summer themed. Well, it's very green. We'll call it summer themed. Okay, well, no more questions, I don't think. I think that was everything. And okay, we talked about PR for a little bit at one point, so I feel like the point of the live stream was accomplished. To recap, if you make a mistake on Facebook, just say, "My bad. It will not happen again." And leave it at that. Or don't say anything at all. Well, unless you're Black Milk, I'm not saying anything at all. No, they said a lot of stuff. Never mind. So, discretion is the better part of valor, or Facebooking. So, there's that. Okay, well, thank you guys for joining me. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I swear sooner or later I'm going to get the hang of Hangouts, and these will start on time and less crazy-like. So, alright, well, I will see you guys later.